The Bill Shakespeare Project presents This Week in Shakespeare for the week ending Monday, June the 18th, 2018. Hola, Bartophiles. I'm Bill Walthall, and welcome to the 201st episode of This Week in Shakespeare, and our first as a video. For the last 200 episodes, this has been a podcast brought to you by the Bill Shakespeare Project. This is our weekly opportunity to let you know about the latest and greatest in Willie Shakespeare headlines coming at you every Tuesday, because, Tuesday is News Day. The goal here is to hit you with a quick blast, no more than 10 minutes tops, of Bard-related news. Plus, we'll try to serve up some historical dates for what were the past 7 days of the year. So, this week's news stories included: the Sydney Morning Herald in Australia ran the story of the arrival in that Australian town of Pop-Up Globe, which is the first full-scale temporary working replica of Shakespeare's Second Globe Theatre in London, and the scaffolding structure will be built in Moores Park Entertainment Quarter. Its 6-week season will feature A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Merchant of Venice, Macbeth, and The Comedy of Errors. Broadway World ran some pics from the Tom Hanks-led Henry IV, now on stage in Los Angeles. Looks cool, and this Southern California boy can't wait to check it out. Mia Gosling over at Good Ticklebrain has created a Shakespeare World Cup bracket that links Shakespearean characters to different national teams. I guess a month from now we'll know who the top dog is, and since the US didn't make the cup, I guess I'll just have to root for Peru. Go Titus. Atlas Obscura ran a piece on the reading room at the Folger Shakespeare Library in Washington. I got to see a play there back in 2013, but it was after hours and the room was closed, so that's still one for the bucket list. The New Yorker ran a nice piece that provided an overview of the spring's Shakespearean events in New York City. Michigan Public Radio ran the story of Shakespeare in Prison, a program of the Detroit Public Theater, which has brought Macbeth to the Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility in Washtenaw County. Reader's Digest ran one of those stories we see every now and then, Shakespearean insults that, as they put it, still sting today, like, "I desire that we be better strangers," from As You Like It. Autism Parenting Magazine ran a piece on the kind of autism intervention called Hunter Heartbeat Method, which is a fusion of activity, drama, and humor based on the works of William Shakespeare. The key here is the rhythmic aspect of the iambic pentameter. CentralMaine.com previewed the upcoming production of Romeo and Juliet by the Recycled Shakespeare Company, gotta love that name, with their run both last and next weekend at 2 locations in Maine. And finally, Insider Louisville reviewed Henry IV Part 1 by Kentucky Shakespeare, running through June 25th, and then returning in July to run in rep with other plays. It's a very positive review, citing what they call delightful talent. Now, let's take a look back on the last 7 days and how they relate to Shakespearean history, both his and the history in his plays. On June the 12th, 1488, Richard II faced down the Peasants' Revolt during the early days of his reign when he was just out of his teens. While he was successful, it affected his reign by creating a sense of having absolute power invested in the monarch, a feeling that would make, spoiler alert, usurpation a more popular proposition. On or around June 13th, 45 BC, Marcus Brutus divorced his first wife, Claudia Pulchra Major, so that he could marry Portia Catonis, the wife that we see in Julius Caesar. Bet you didn't even know he had another wife. On June 14th, 1949, noted Shakespearean actor Anthony Sher was born in Cape Town, South Africa. One of the greatest roles that he had was of Richard III in 1984 at the Royal Shakespeare Company, an experience discussed in his memoir of the period, Year of the King. Also on this date, in 1919, American-born actor and director Sam Wanamaker was born. He is chiefly known as the driving force behind the recreation of Shakespeare's Globe Theatre in London, which sadly he never saw completed before his death in 1993. The theatre opened in 1997. On June 15, 1330, Edward, Black Prince of Wales, was born. The son of Edward III and the father of Richard II, he would predecease his father, leaving the throne to his 10-year-old son. Edward gets quite a few shout-outs during Henry V. On June 16th, 1567, Mary, Queen of Scots, was taken into custody and imprisoned at Loch Leven Castle, where she miscarried twins within a week, and a few days later was forced to abdicate the Scottish throne for her infant son, James VI of Scotland, who would later become James I of England. On June 17th, 1239, Edward I was born, the king dead center between King John 2 generations before and Edward III, who, well, let's just wait until we talk about him on June 21st. On June 18th, 1429, Joan of Arc defeated Falstaff, not Falstaff, and Talbot at the Battle of Patay, as depicted in the first part of Henry VI. And that was your Week in Shakespeare, brought to you by the Bill Shakespeare Project. And if you've enjoyed this news review, tell a friend and hit the subscribe button to keep from missing these news, reviews, and history videos. For our daily blog and previous Twiz episodes, including links to the news stories we've covered, as well as the real Bill Shakespeare Project podcast, check us out at thebillshakespeareproject.com. And we'll catch you next week.